Okay, so you want to own a Lamborghini. You've seen it on the street, heard the engine from a block away, and somewhere in the back of your mind you've already decided that one day that's going to be yours. Maybe you've even looked up the price. And the number surprised you, not because it was too high, but because you thought it would be higher. $250,000 for the entry-level SUV, around $600,000 for the flagship. Okay, you think. Expensive but not impossible. Here's the thing nobody tells you. That number on the window, the one that made you either wince or shrug, depending on who you are, that number is actually one of the smallest parts of what you're about to spend. By the time you've owned a Lamborghini for 5 years, you will have committed nearly 1.75 times the original sticker price in real, out-of-pocket money. And that's before you even count the money you could have made if you'd done something else with it. This is the economics of owning a Lamborghini, not the fantasy. The actual numbers. Let's start with what you're actually buying, because it's not what most people think. A standard car gets you from one place to another. That's basically it. But a Lamborghini isn't competing with a Toyota Camry. It's not even competing with a BMW. It's competing with an experience. When you buy a Lamborghini, you are paying for performance engineering, Italian handcraft, a brand that has been synonymous with excess since 1963, and something economists have a name for: positional value. That's the value something has purely because other people can see it and recognize what it means. You're not just buying transportation. You're buying the loudest possible signal that you have made it. And that's actually why the price is what it is. Lamborghini produces a deliberately limited number of vehicles each year to keep the brand exclusive. In 2024, they delivered roughly 10,000 vehicles globally. That's not an accident. That's a strategy. Scarcity is a feature, not a limitation. Now let's talk about the price you'll actually pay at the dealership, because the advertised number is a baseline minimum that almost nobody actually pays. The Urus SE, the SUV that sits at the entry point of the current lineup, starts at around $242,000. The Huracan, the mid-engine sports car now being replaced by the Temerario, came in at around $212,000 before it was discontinued. The new Temerario starts at around $388,000. And the Revuelto, the flagship V12, starts at around $604,000. Those are the official numbers from Lamborghini. But here's what happens between that number and what you actually pay. First, there's sales tax. In California, the total sales tax on a vehicle can reach over 10%. On a $600,000 car, that's $60,000 in tax alone before you've driven a single mile. Then there's the destination charge, around $4,000. Then dealer fees. Then registration. By the time you've finished the paperwork on a base Revuelto, you're already past $680,000 without a single option selected. And the options. The options are where Lamborghini really makes their money. Lamborghini runs a customization program called Ad Personam. Through this program, you can take a car that already costs $600,000 and turn it into something that costs $800,000 or more, purely through choices about paint, leather, carbon fiber, and stitching. A full black livery package with colored accent lines is listed at around $61,000. $61,000. That is the price of a well-equipped BMW, and you are spending it on paint. An upper exterior carbon package runs around $34,000. A lower exterior carbon package is another $30,000. A specialty paint color from their Ad Personam palette adds between $14,000 and $17,000. None of this changes how fast the car goes. It changes how it looks. Two Lamborghini Revueltos with identical engines and chassis can differ in final sale price by over $200,000 purely because of how they were configured. And here's the cruel economic twist. Those expensive options that cost full retail price on day one do not add full retail value on day two. The minute you drive out of the dealership, the next buyer will discount them significantly. You paid the manufacturer's profit margin on something the resale market won't honor. Now let's talk about financing, because a significant portion of Lamborghini buyers do not write a check. They finance. This is where a lot of people make a very quiet and very expensive mistake. Lenders like Woodside Credit offer what they call exotic car loans, specialized financing products with terms that can stretch to 144 months. That's 12 years. A standard car loan runs 4 to 6 years. These exotic loans exist precisely because the monthly payment on a 12-year loan sounds manageable. Work the numbers, and a 20% down payment on $350,000, financed 9% over 144 months, produces a monthly payment of around $3,200. That sounds like a premium car payment, not a life-altering financial commitment. But the total picture is what matters. Over those 12 years, The cumulative loan payments reach around $463,000 on a $280,000 financed balance. The interest alone, just the cost of borrowing, is over $182,000. The total capital outlay for a $350,000 car, financed at these terms, is $532,000. And that's before you've paid for insurance, fuel, tires, or a single oil change. And here's the problem that makes this genuinely dangerous. The car depreciates while the loan amortizes. In the early years of an exotic car loan, the monthly payment is mostly interest. The vehicle's value is falling quickly. You are almost certainly underwater, meaning you owe more on the car than it's worth for the first several years. If something goes wrong during that period, you are not just losing the car. You are losing the car and still owing a bank a substantial sum of money. Which brings us to depreciation. And this is the part that surprises even sophisticated buyers. A standard production Lamborghini, a Huracan Coupe, or a base Urus loses roughly 18% of its value in the first year alone. By year 5, a $300,000 car has typically retained about 52% of its original value. That means it has lost roughly $144,000 in 5 years purely through the passage of time, regardless of whether you drove it or not. That is $2,400 per month evaporating from your balance sheet while the car sits in your garage. Now, the rate of depreciation is not identical across all Lamborghinis. This is where the economics of the used car market gets interesting. High-volume production models, the standard Urus, the entry-level Huracan Coupe, face strong secondary market supply. Many were sold, many are available, and that supply drives prices down. A car with polarizing colors or missing common options like the front axle lift system faces additional discounts because buyers have choices, but limited production special editions behave completely differently. The Huracan STO, the Aventador SVJ, the Huracan Performante. These had restricted production numbers, track-focused engineering, and strong enthusiast demand. They depreciate far more slowly, and some actually hold or gain value over time. The Aventador Ultime, the final naturally aspirated 12-cylinder Lamborghini before the hybrid era, commanded a premium because collectors understood it was the last of something. Ultra-exclusive halo models like the Veneno and the Centenario often trade at multiples of their original purchase price. But here is the critical error most buyers make. They assume that because some Lamborghinis appreciate, their Lamborghini will appreciate. The cars that appreciate are the ones with production numbers in the dozens, not thousands. If you are buying a standard production Lamborghini with standard options in a popular color, you are buying a depreciating asset. Period. This creates what's called the mileage paradox, one of the strangest economic quirks of supercar ownership. Every mile you drive a Lamborghini is a mile of enjoyment. It's also a deduction from its market value. On high-end exotics, excess mileage relative to market averages can cost $3,000 to $5,000 per 1,000 miles driven. So the enjoyment of driving your $300,000 car comes with a direct financial penalty on every single trip, but the alternative, not driving it, is its own financial trap. Whether you drive it or not, you are paying insurance premiums, paying for storage, paying for maintenance, paying the registration fee. The fixed costs of owning a Lamborghini run whether the engine turns over or not. So you can drive it and enjoy it while losing money faster. Or you can not drive it and lose money slightly more slowly while not enjoying it. There is no version where the car stops costing you money while it's in your possession. Let's run the insurance numbers. Because a lot of people underestimate how dramatically an exotic car changes their insurance bill. Insuring a Lamborghini requires an agreed value policy, offered by specialty insurers like Haggerty, Grundy, and Purer. These policies guarantee a fixed payout in the event of a total loss, which is essential, because standard insurance companies use depreciation formulas that would dramatically undervalue a destroyed exotic. A specialty agreed value policy on a Huracan runs roughly $3,000 to $5,800 annually for a mature driver with a clean record in a favorable location. An Aventador or Revuelto runs $6,000 to $8,000 annually. But that's the favorable scenario. A younger driver, or someone in a high-density urban area like New York or Los Angeles, or someone with even a minor claims history, can see those numbers triple. Annual premiums for high-risk profile on flagship Lamborghinis have reached $23,900 through standard carriers. That is over $2,000 every single month, purely for the privilege of being allowed to drive the car. Now fuel. It's not the biggest cost, but it's the one you feel most visibly. Every Lamborghini requires premium high-octane fuel, minimum 93 octane in the United States. The 12-cylinder Revuelto returns around 10 to 11 miles per gallon combined. The V10 Huracan managed 13 to 15 combined. Push either car hard and real-world economy dropped to 6 to 8 miles per gallon. If you drive 4,000 miles in a year, which is low by normal standards but typical for exotic car owners, at 11 miles per gallon and $5.25 per gallon, your annual fuel bill runs around $1,900. That's about 48 cents per mile. A standard commuter car at 32 miles per gallon on regular fuel costs around 11 cents per mile. The Lamborghini costs you more than 4 times as much to refuel. If you're enjoying this breakdown and want to keep understanding how money actually works inside the world's most expensive things, subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. It helps us keep making content like this. And then there are the tires. Supercar tires are not like normal tires. A Lamborghini rides on custom Pirelli performance compounds developed specifically for its platform. Wide rear tires in sizes like 305/30ZR20 cost between $500 and $650 each. Front tires run $400 to $550 each. A complete set of 4 costs between $1,800 and $2,400 for the rubber alone. Adding precision mounting on forged alloy wheels, electronic balancing, and specialized alignment brings the installed cost to around $3,000 per replacement. Under normal street driving, these compounds last 5,000 to 10,000 miles. If you drive aggressively, a set can be gone in under 2,000 miles. At $3,000 installed over 6,000 miles, your tire expense runs 50 cents per mile, matching your fuel cost exactly. Now maintenance, because this is where a lot of exotic car buyers get their first real shock after purchase. A routine oil change on a Lamborghini is not a $40 service. The engines use complex dry sump lubrication systems requiring specialized synthetic oil and technicians who charge between $250 and $400 per hour. A basic annual oil and filter service at an authorized Lamborghini dealership runs between $1,500 and $2,800. Scheduled maintenance escalates as the vehicle ages. The 18,000-mile service. Engine oil, brake fluid flush, cabin filters, gearbox, and differential fluid changes. Runs around $3,500. The major service at 3 to 4 years includes spark plug replacement, engine drive belt service, and component checks, running between $4,500 and $7,000. And skipping these services is not a real option. Every Lamborghini that goes to auction or a private buyer gets scrutinized for service history. Incomplete documented maintenance means a meaningful discount at resale. You are effectively compelled to pay the high service fee to protect the asset's future value. But scheduled maintenance is the predictable part. The unpredictable part is where the real exposure lives. Let's look at one specific repair as an illustration. Lamborghinis are fitted with carbon ceramic brake systems, high-performance brakes that handle extreme heat. Under normal road driving, they last a long time. But when they wear out, the replacement cost is extraordinary. A single front carbon ceramic rotor has an OEM component cost of around $6,700, just one rotor. To replace all 4 corners costs around $26,800 in parts alone, plus labor. A complete brake system overhaul, rotors, pads, and labor runs over $30,000. $30,000 for brakes. That is the purchase price of a new mid-size sedan. Other major component failures work at similar scales. A dual-clutch transmission rebuild runs between $25,000 and $45,000. And on the newest hybrid models, a battery module replacement is estimated between $35,000 and $60,000. These are not rare failures. They are predictable consequences of operating high-performance components near their limits over time. The car also requires infrastructure. A Lamborghini cannot be parked on the street overnight in most major cities without risking damage, theft, or violating insurance policy terms. In Tier 1 cities like New York or Los Angeles, renting climate-controlled exotic storage runs between $500 and $1,500 per month. That's $6,000 to $18,000 annually just for a place to park the car. Many jurisdictions also levy personal property taxes on vehicles assessed at market value, adding another layer of annual expense simply for the act of owning it, all of which leads to the